Week 11 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I look to buy and trade for this week. The first hitter, Ozzie Albies, the Atlanta Braves. I know he broke his toe early in the season and was out for a little bit, but he's struggling mightily for the most part, is Ozzie Albies. And a lot of these hitters on this Brave team all season long have been struggling, and they were in a tailspin over the last couple of weeks, especially since Ronald Acuna went down with the torn ACL. So on the season, 4 home runs, 30 RBIs, 28 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, a 265 average, and a 328 on base. But over the last couple weeks here for Albies, only 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored, 217 average, and a 250 on base. And right now, after coming off a monster season last year, 33 and 109 with a 280 average, Albies, his numbers are way down. And like I said, I know he missed some time, obviously, with the broken toe. And now with Acuna out of the lineup, he's been leading off at times as well. So right now, well, he hasn't done much, and we know this Brave offense is very talented, and these players, they're due to break out sooner or later. This is a time to go out there and get Albies. June 6th at the Nats, 1 for 4 with a run. June 7th at the Nats, 0 for 4. June 8th at the Nats, 1 for 4 in RBI. June 9th at the Nats, 1 for 5. And June 11th at the Orioles, 0 for 5. So right now, he's in the tailspin, his Albies. He's not showing power. His RBIs haven't been all that great. And this is a perfect time to go get him, because we've seen it year in and year out for the most part. Once Albies gets going, he could carry a team in a big way, and also he's one of the better second basemen in all baseball. The next hit is his teammate Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. So arguably I could have put 3 or 4 players on this list here from this Brave team. That's just how bad they've been struggling. But Riley, the last one on the list this week from the Braves on the season, only 3 home runs, 20 RBIs, 28 runs scored, 230 average, and a 301 on base. I know last season Riley got off to a slow start, but come on, 3 home runs for a guy like Riley in 200 bats this season is a little alarming, no doubt about it. In the last couple weeks, no home runs, 2 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 200 average, and a 265 on base. So he's not driving the baseball well, is Austin Riley. Like I said, Acuna out of the lineup's definitely a big hit for this Brave team, but there's still so many talented hitters in this lineup that these guys still should get good pitches to hit, and they should be putting up numbers. Last season, again, Austin Riley, 37 homers, 97 RBIs, and he's a 30, 40 home run hitter each and every season. So right now, definitely a little bit of alarming, but you could get him on a huge discount with disappointing numbers with the 20 RBIs and 3 homers. June 6th at the Nats, 1 for 4, run an RBI. June 7th at the Nats, 1 for 3. June 8th at the Nats, 1 for 4. June 9th at the Nats, 0 for 4. And June 11th, Orioles, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. So right now, he's mightily struggling, is Austin Riley. But he's another player. It just takes a flip of the switch where he could get going and carry a fantasy team for weeks on end. I'm not saying it's going to happen immediately, but something's got to give with these Brave hitters. So right now, while Albies and Riley is struggling big time, this is a perfect time to go out there and get them, because like I said, once they get going, and owners who own these players waited all this time for them to break out, the price is going to be a premium. And right now, while they've been busts as early third, fourth round picks, you got to go out there and get them now before it's too late and they turn things around. The next hitter I look to buy and trade for is Adolis Garcia. The Texas Rangers said Adolis Garcia, what a season it was for him last year, 39 and 107, and a magical postseason run to lead the Texas Rangers to the World Series. And this year, definitely the home runs have been great, and the RBIs, 13 homers, 40 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, a 217 average, and a 273 on base. But over the last couple weeks here, run 3 RBIs, 5 runs, a stolen base, an 098 average, and a 191 on base. Adolis Garcia, I know he's never really a high batting average type of player, but his on base has definitely taken a hit this season, only at 273. The last month of the year, he's only hit 153 in the time, and the only thing really saving him is the decent power. He's pretty much been a home run or strikeout over the last 2-3 weeks here, is Garcia. We're already 70 strikeouts on the season. So the last few games for Adolis Garcia, June 5th versus the Tigers, 0 for 4. June 7th versus the Giants, 0 for 4. June 8th versus the Giants, 0 for 3. June 9th versus the Giants, 1 for 4. What a run. And June 11th at the Dodgers, 1 for 4 in that game. So hitting the ball well was Garcia. Only 1 home run in his last 45 at-bats. And it's definitely a problem, but Garcia is a great player. And just like the other players, like Riley and Albies, he's too good to be held down all season. And once he figures things out, he could take off quickly and help fantasy owners. for a while and carry their team. The next hitter, Paul Goldschmidt of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Paul Goldschmidt, he's a player that's been on this list a few times this season, and he was starting to get things going a little bit as Goldschmidt. A couple weeks ago, he was hitting at 200 or a little under, and on the season, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs, 31 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 229 average, and a 305 on base. So the last couple seasons, his strikeout rate's gone up for Goldschmidt. He's just getting blown away with some pitches and not catching up to them. Or he's swinging for the fences as well, which has been a problem. And over the last 2 weeks, no home runs, 3 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 255 average, and a 340 on base. So like I said, Goldschmidt, he was starting to get things going 3-4 weeks ago where he was turning his season around. But now he's back to slumping again like he did early in the first 6-7 weeks of the year. So the last few games for Goldschmidt, June 6th versus the Rockies, 1 for 5. June 7th versus the Rockies, 2 for 4, run, 2 ribs. June 8th versus the Rockies, 1 for 4, run, and a rib. June 9th versus the Rockies, 1 for 3. And June 11th versus the Pirates, 0 for 4. So like I said, not much substance over the last couple weeks here for Goldschmidt. I'm not saying he's washed Goldschmidt, but he's definitely lost a little bit over the last few seasons with the K rate going up, obviously age as well, and the power numbers have gone down. So right now, while Goldschmidt hasn't been good for the most part this season here, he's definitely a buy low hitter because, like I said, we saw flashes from him a few weeks ago, and if he just could get some consistency back, he could help fantasy owners in a big way, especially getting him on a discount. And the fifth and final hitter I look to buy and trade for is Ian Happ of the Chicago Cubs. So Ian Happ, it hasn't been that great of a year, even though I think he could match his numbers from last season when it's all said and done this year. On the year, 6 home runs, 30 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 31 runs scored, a 222 average, and a 329 on base. And over the last couple weeks, 2 home runs, 13 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 227 average, and a 327 on base. So Ian Happ, for the most part, he's your prototypical power hitter where he's going to have a low batting average. He's going to strike out a decent amount, but he's still going to walk pretty well, is Ian Happ. And this season, he's got the walks up there. His on-base percentage 107 points higher than his batting average. So that's a good sign, no doubt about it, but he really hasn't done much in terms of showing power over the last few weeks, even though he does have 13 RBIs in that time. June 6th at the Reds 0 for 4. June 7th at the Reds 0 for 4. June 8th at the Reds 0 for 3. June 9th at the Reds 1 for 3. 3 RBIs, 2 stolen bases. And June 11th at Tampa in that one, 0 for 4. So like I said, Ian Happ, he still could be on pace to put the numbers up that he did last year. 21, 84 RBIs, 14 stolen bases, a 248 average, and a 360 on base. And I bet fantasy owners would take that. So right now, Ian Happ, where the numbers still look like they're on par, but he's been quiet for the most part. I think he's a buy low candidate. And like I said, he's the prototypical power hitter. So if you need some power and someone who can help, I think more in points leagues, he can help more than anything, where the batting average isn't a huge factor in those leagues. That's a few hitters I look to buy and trade for week 11 of the fantasy baseball season.